Hey guys, Jen here. Hoping everybody's doing well and is blessed. Started losing my voice again yesterday after our forecast was smoke. I suspect there's something else going on. It's only been happening the last couple of years. I also suspect we have to watch to the animals and their behavior to determine the truth in these times and not the media. I would point people as far away from social media and mainstream media as you can get, and even now mainstream YouTubers, because Hollywood has moved to YouTube, in case you couldn't tell by all the initiations that have taken place oftentimes on their channels since at least 2017. So there's that. This is part testimonial, part documentation. I do these, number one, because they are a part of what I promise to witness, I believe, to God, Source, Creator. I don't personally care what you call him, her, it. I'm not going to get into a gender dispute. I believe it is about spirit, and that spirit, yes, can have gender, either in a masculine energy or a feminine energy, and we all have both of those. We just have more of one or the other in our physical manifestations. I also believe in mind over matter. That is actually, if you think about it, a very short, simplistic way to explain the hierarchy. What you think you are, you shall become. Mind over your matter, so to speak. And I do believe, allegedly it is said in secret societies, that the last step to the initiation process is changing your own physical matter, which I do believe can be done. And that entirely relates to this experience. I also document these to either prove to myself and whoever stumbles upon these videos that I am crazy or that I am not. And I scour Reddit oftentimes for experiences similar to my own. Yes, I know AI is deceptive and copies our comments and posts all over the place. That is also how they help to make it look like we are more populated than we actually are. Do you see how all of these dots can be connected? And as you know, I believe Project Paperclip and Missing 411 tie into all of this as well. It is definitely all orchestrated and organized. However, I will say, I don't believe all the fallen know who they are. I think that's a blessing to them until such a time in which they are judged. I believe that the rainbow hijackers, not the human beings at the lower level who are swept up in the love rhetoric and believe it is really about love and hope and positive change. Behind it, there is the nefarious agenda, because they stole that rainbow and because they are sexualizing children, which should not be done. Even adults, I don't know why all of this attention is suddenly being placed on, I identify as this. If we're identifying by our sexual orientation, that should show us there's something very, very wrong. I identify as a woman, as a mother, as a parent, as a daughter of God, the Most High. And I also believe that's why some of these spiritual experiences are easier to explain for women, or sometimes they happen to women because we have that radar, that inherent intuition that we were created from, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We have to have that connection with our child, as it is a part of love and preservation. And I don't believe the fallen know what real love is. That's why they are screaming for all this tolerance, and yet they are not displaying it because they just don't know. And I don't know how much effort it's going to take to change that, or if that can be changed. So keep these things in mind as I explain this experience, because it's happened to me before. This is me testing this experience. I purposely went with the intent of examining the people around me a little more closely. And, well, I'll get into that. So, for those not familiar, let me just give this backdrop. The Agent Smith effect. If you scour Reddit, oftentimes you will find little gems like this, and it is relevant. In the movie The Matrix, Agent Smith has the ability to enter any body, any physical body, at any given time, okay? We have to really dissect the words that are used and that we are using today, because we've been made, or basically so many of our brothers and sisters are on autopilot. They are in NPC mode, and they just need that switch flipped. And sometimes that takes us using our mouths and our deeds and our words and our thoughts in a godly way, trying to have real love for these people and bringing them to some type of awareness, even if they might hate us for it. So that is love. Love is putting somebody else's well-being ahead of your own. In the movie The Matrix, Agent Smith has the ability to enter any body at any time, and that often happens when the Matrix is threatened by Neo. Okay, Agent Smith, what is that? Okay, we know what the term agent implies, that a person is a part of an organization, right? And Smith is a very general, very basic, very anonymous name. It is a very John Doe type of name, right? It can be anyone, okay? Just like true man, we have to put these words to the test as well. Neo is the one, the chosen one. Excuse me. Neo is also used in Greek mythology, okay? And always he is some type of special being or chosen one who will be used to lead others to a type of awareness or knowing of their own consciousness. I apologize, I had to stop for a minute. Okay, so this scenario is a reflection of our real world. For example, you're having a conversation with a friend. Everything's fine until you mention something like 7-Eleven was an inside job. Now watch what happens. Up pops Agent Smith to replace the person you were just having a conversation with, to attack you because all truths threaten the Matrix. Most people have had the Agent Smith Matrix programming since birth. These programmed people become the guardians of the Matrix, protectors of the code, the police of mind control, and enforcers of the indoctrination which holds together our false concept of reality like super glue. Now, just because I read something on the channel does not mean that I agree with it in whole, sometimes not even in part. It's just a thought experiment or practice for our discernment, okay? And I usually tell you when that's happening. So just because I've read that does not mean I agree with it all, but it is a really good meme for explaining something that I believe is a little more complex than they're making it. Do I believe this happens? Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you about another instance that I had. However, I have a hard time sometimes thinking that it's just one spirit and the person doesn't know. For example, if this is just a spirit, why are they all wearing dark glasses? That is a physical manifestation. That is a conscious choice that they have to make to purchase said sunglasses or order them, to have them be a certain UVA or UVB protectant. Most of them are very dark, much like he's wearing, much like Roddy Piper and They Live. Sunglasses are always a component of this, which I've done videos on. They may be deleted at this point, so I might have to do those over. But I prove to you how many YouTubers did videos on color chromatic sunglasses, and how many people now are wearing them as they make their videos, or are wearing them inside where you don't need sunglasses. This is a physical manifestation and a physical choice these people have to make. So is Agent Smith just popping into them to not only pick them out, not only to buy them, and then put them on their face every time they put them on? No, I believe some people, I believe there's more than one Agent Smith, we'll put it that way. But I also believe that there are stories here that are used to cover up certain real phenomenon and or technological, what's the word I want to, technological yet organic surveillance. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to try and do a live sometime today, but I have a few different things that I really want to show you guys. And one of them is the theory that aliens are keeping us under surveillance. And sometimes the things we see in the sky are like, almost like flashbulbs of cameras, or they are lenses that are having lights bounce off of them. And it is them watching us. If this is a truth, is it possible then that God's angels are using technology? So then our entire framework for what technology is has to be changed, because that means that technology can be organic, at least in part. And I hope you see the logic in how I just relayed all of that to you. Let's set that aside for a minute. We know that somehow there are people who act as portals while they're in NPC mode. These other spirits can utilize their vessels. But are there beings who can change how they present physically, how they manifest physically, like it's a suit? Can they wear skin like they wear suit? And I mean, not popping into other people's vessels, but actually physically manifesting, almost like the Terminator type thing, but more along the lines of a skinwalker is what I'm thinking. Because if you read the Bible, it even says that seraphim, the angels that are seraphim, they have 4 different faces. 4. So is it possible that you could be talking to the same being who's presenting itself to you with one of its different faces each time? And Lucifer was allegedly a seraphim angel. I think some people say he was a cherub. I know that he was the leader of the worship there, of the music. And worship, again, that does, people give that a really narcissistic thing. God did not create us for the sole purpose of worshiping him. I don't know that I would personally serve a God that did such a thing. God created us from love to share that love with us, and then hopefully to have company, to have companions that are like himself. But in order to be like God, we have to go through all of these, and yes, that is biblical. It's called theosis. It started way back with Catholic theologians who kind of started this blending of science and faith, and seeing that they were not mutually exclusive, that they did oftentimes blend, much like the 2 strands of DNA. I got off topic a little bit. So I went to the Mexican restaurant. Understand that these people are always nice to me. The first word in the restaurant is El. It does not mean the same thing in Spanish, but we know that in Hebrew, El, and in the Bible, Elohim, El, means of God or angelic, an angelic being. So there's that. And then when I asked them to use their Wi-Fi password, because it's free Wi-Fi, this is 3-4 years ago when things started, they gave it to me, and it was Angel. Angel was the password. So there's that. They've always been kind to me. Sometimes they get busy. They don't always pay attention to me, so I'm not a favorite, quote unquote. But they've always been pretty normal to me. But I noticed some weird things when I'm there. Number one, on more than one occasion when I've tried to call people on Messenger, Facebook, it rings in the Mexican restaurant. And I noticed a long time ago that the Wi-Fi router, like my home router, the name of my Wi-Fi, lasts a really long time. And I can go into the laundromat across the street from the Mexican restaurant, in the center of town, like right off Main Street. Like I said, it's small town. It's a movie set, basically, where I live, pretty much. I could almost say that's the truth, but I don't know for certain, to be honest. And it's sad when you don't know about your own reality, because there's a lot of strange things that happen here. So anyways, when I would go to the laundromat, the router had the same name. So there's that. And I've told you what the router names of the police station were and of the Methodist church. So there's all these strange things happening. So I know technology is involved, right? Second thing, this is the third time this has happened. This is me testing the spirit. I sat down and somebody started talking to me, and I don't really talk to strangers these days because it can get so strange, but I'm also not rude either, especially to older people that are older than me. My dad just raised me to always be welcoming and kind and even flattering, and some people take that the wrong way, but it's how, it's a different way, it's old school, and as a girl, it's kind of how I was raised to be, but I was also raised to shake hands, right? That flattering somebody wasn't mutually exclusive either with being sexual. So normally in these times, I don't really welcome. I let things happen on their own, and I kind of observe. And if it, something happens with me and I end up not being an observer for a time, well, then of course I'm kind and I converse and I am sociable, right? And I try to be mannerly and courteous. So let's get all that out of the way. There was this person who I know was physically there because one, he interacted with the environment. Two, other people spoke to him. Three, it was a big crowd. I kind of got trapped by the parade. I did not intend to stay there as long as I did. I could not get my check. It was definitely managed. I had no idea that it was even parade day till I got into town. And it was weird. Usually stuff's set up 2, 3, 4 days in advance. And it's almost like, hey, she's out. We gotta hurry up and pretend like we're a community. It was just weird. Anyways, so I'm watching the parade that my sons had been in before, and so that's always nice, and it brings back memories, and it's cool to watch young ones having a good time, just good, clean fun, right? And so we're just sitting there talking. I'm sipping a beer or two, and yes, I did have a couple, but I did not get drunk, and I did not black out, and I do not do that anymore. So, not today, Satan, all right? I'm going to confession later today, so if it's a problem, I'm sure God will overlook it because, again, I maintain control of my faculties. I know how people have judged me. I know how they take things I say out of context. So I try to just air my own dirty laundry. I don't really have any secrets to hide. I don't have anything that I keep other than certain plans I might have for my own future. So I'm sitting down and I'm talking. This older man starts talking to me, and I'm like, man, he really has the same exact mannerisms, same habits, talks the same, says the same things as this best friend of my husband who came around when all this stuff went crazy and who actually told me a lot of truths and gave me a lot of breadcrumbs. And I've talked about this before, but he also told me in a year, you will be my enemy. And that was true. He ended up, things just ended up poor between us. And that's when CV kicked off, and that's when the Rainbow Hijackers started trying to hijack everything. And again, I'm not talking about mankind. I really do believe there's a supernatural element here at work, or what we call now supernatural, something we don't quite understand. I do not believe that this is done by man, but also at the same time, let me say, I would love to blame all of the evil in the world on the fallen and on demons, but man has definitely participated quite a bit. So I'm talking to this person. I'm like, man, it's like talking to so-and-so all over again. And now he's just in a different body. He moves the same. He talks the same. As he's drinking, I can tell he's starting to get a little affected. And he starts having the same habits and mannerisms, getting up a lot, going away. He would do that because he was into his own things that I did not participate in, so he would walk off and do whatever, come back. Same exact habits. Talk the same. Use the same words. It's the same verbiage. And mannerisms aren't something you can teach. Mannerisms are only something you learn after spending real time with a person. Even actors have to really study a role if they're doing a biography on somebody. It doesn't matter if you give them the right wig or the right costume or the right clothes to wear. If they haven't studied that person, they cannot be that person, right? They cannot pretend. And even when they're pretending, you see their own spirit shine through. This is why sometimes these topics are easier for women. So I tested this theory. This is the third or fourth time this has happened with that same spirit of that same individual with different people looking like different people. So is this technology? I don't think so. I don't think it was technology. We shook hands. So there's that. I think they're trolling us with the Joe Biden thing and, oh my God, he's wearing a mask. I don't think government means mind control. I would be seriously shocked if any of our government over all these years was legit or real, and not just how the powers and principalities hold together order on this physical plane. And yes, there are principalities above us in the hierarchy who are supposed to watch out for us in large dominions. For example, maybe a whole state is under the angel, unfortunately, Azazel. And because he's went rogue and fallen, that whole state might be affected because of his fall. Do you see what I'm saying? As above, so below in that way. On earth as in heaven. Okay? So, if you have any stories or any similar experiences, please share them below. I know everybody thinks they quote-unquote know what's happening. Oh, I know it's organic portals. Oh, this is what it is. Oh, this is what it's that. On this channel, I would ask you to please do your due diligence and use some humility, because there are a lot of theories out there and very little proof. I know what I think it is because I've interacted with it, but I'm not going to say that that is what it is, because I don't know, and I can't quote-unquote prove it to you unless you're here experiencing it with me. So I'm not going to say that is what it is. Do you see what I'm saying? Because labels and words have power. Now, in future videos real soon, we are going to explore more of the consciousness, how the Gnostics explained it to how it's explained today, and see if there's any correlation there to have we made any progress? Are we spiritually evolving with our theories? Is our mind expanding the way that it should be? So we're going to talk about things like that. But I also have Dark Night of the Soul and The Imitation of Christ, two smaller, very aged, older books that I got from Dover Thrift. One is written by St. John of the Cross, Dark Night of the Soul. We've talked a lot about that. That's what kickstarted a lot of our journeys and explorations into what is reality. How much of it does God control? How much of it are we responsible for? And how much of it is dealing with interference? And then The Imitation of Christ. Both I've started. Both are very rich. I've only read like 2-3 chapters and the intro in each book. You know, I can fly through a book pretty quickly. But if you're interested in reading those, I can do it on this channel because it does deal with reality. Or I can do it on Striving to be a Saint, the new channel. I'm going to start putting more material on that channel, but it's going to be more concise, more organized, and there will be an intro video as well. So, share your stories below, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, see the community tab where the email is, and I can share your story anonymously. Reddit is full of stories and experiences like this, so it's not so far of a stretch, but I want to hear from real people. I want to hear from you guys and what you think. So let's share and explore, and let me know what you want to see in the next few videos as well. Relating to the topics here that we've touched on, I try to just let the spirit lead, and usually it doesn't lead us wrong. Oh, we are going to be looking more into retro causality. You know that the Bri and Jen channel, we were the first group to really start talking about retro causality and the law of reversal. I saw an alleged occultist denying that that even exists over on Quora. You cannot listen to everyone online. Not everything we hear is truth, and that's a big problem in society today, especially with our children. They seem to believe whatever they are told, especially by someone who has alleged authority, and that is dangerous. So that's another topic that we are also going to be covering within the next couple of days, within the next couple of live streams. But if you'd like to have a short stream this evening, let me know, and we can have something relaxing and kind of chill, and maybe read through a couple intros of books that I have on Kindle as well. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Please pray for me as I pray for you.